What is going on, everyone? My name's Boit, and I'm back with some more Age of Mythology Retold action. I was actually really close to saying the Titans there. We've got a special one for you today in the top of the map in the blue color, playing as Poseidon. His name is Eric BR. His opponent today is none other than Freyr's very own master, Husk Soup. This was really special game to me, or looks like a special game to me, just on the fact that you really don't get to see some of these players playing very often on the ladder. They play a lot of custom games against their teammates and training and all the good stuff. That's where they find their fun, and that's where they get better at the game, but you don't get to see them playing the ranked all too much, especially Eric. And Eric is one of those players who I know he's a strong player, but I just haven't seen him playing. And for whatever reason, whether unlucky or whatnot, in actual tournaments, he's had some rough results against some players that I think a lot of his scrim partners would think he would maybe get wins against. I think he's a really strong player. I'm excited to see how he's going to be able to perform in this game here, but he is up against Soup, and I also think that Soup is, like I've already said it, I think he's the Freyr master. I think he's obviously got some areas of Norse which he's got to work on. If he was to combine his knowledge of Norse with maybe a more tactical player or fundamentally sound player, not saying that Soup's fundamentals are bad, just that there seems to be like the slightest problems that occur with Soup's Norse that tend not to occur with other players' Norse, but I always see Soup getting into positions which like these other Norse players just don't find themselves in a good way, so if you like follow Soup's game plan and you just learn how he plays, and then you just maybe go and steal from a different Norse player, say like a Rappel or maybe a Magic or obviously the Mister as well. These guys play a very different style. Tunison as well. These guys play a very different type of Norse to Soup, which can often, if you mix the two together, I think that's where Norse gets like the most terrifying. Nonetheless, we are seeing a very fast advance time here from Eric. He's a big fan of this quick advance. Soup is the polar opposite. He goes, come at me. If you want to advance fast, I'm going to take my time here. I'm going to advance when I want to. And after that, we'll see what happens, because you got to get some real damage done. He hasn't even started his temple, basically. He's only now starting his temple, and Eric is already basically halfway finished his age up. So it's going to be a really late advance time here from Soup. Eric's going to get all of the advantages in the world in this early game. We're going to see that Theseus coming over here. He's going to grab a relic. He has got that Anvil of Hephaestus in his grasp. Onto this position here as well, we got Demeter's Throne. This is a nice one there, with the reduction in storehouses. Text of Imhotep is another really good relic over there. 10% building speed reduction. And the Titan's Treasure, another amazing relic. So some very nice ones. That one reducing the age up cost, as the Centaur will immediately move across the map. Stable immediately gets thrown down. Atalanta immediately queued up. The temple is up, and a wall straight down onto this right side of the map. Now the Centaur can literally just run straight in and start harassing these villagers on the hunt. I'm sure we're going to start seeing Soup getting himself out that Herso, but the Centaur is in the base, and this is going to be some serious damage coming through. And we do see a cheeky little special ability getting thrown down here. This Herso doesn't do any damage. He's not scary at all at the moment. But I mean, he's going to get a little bit of damage done. He tries to get a wall up. That Katoskabot's causing some problems. Look at that. It does 4 damage in attack. So it's not a scary unit at the moment, but Soup is buying his time incredibly well here. Eric has just not been able to, in the slightest, get any value out of this early, apart from a little bit of HP onto these units here, has not been able to get any value in this early stage of the game. Draugr is now out. Draugr getting some damage done. We see the villagers coming up here. Draugr getting hit down a couple of times here. Soup not microing away, and he is going to be losing that Draugr straight away, as now the Atalanta is going to join in. So that's going to be some nice value right away. The walls are up, the house is up, the defensive building placement is through. We're also going to be seeing that winged messenger tech coming in immediately. Insanely good tech. You get basically free Pegasi out of your of your stuff for the rest of the game. Just one, if it dies, it comes back, so it's worth a lot. Plus, the Pegasus is getting a lot of line of sight, so incredibly strong there. As the Herso push back, Atalanta in the center, just going to be hanging out onto that position. We see watchtowers coming through as well, as the double longhouses now getting thrown down. Triple longhouses actually here for Suppe, and this is something that he's been doing quite a bit. Later advance time, 3 longhouses, plenty of resources in the bank. Yes, he has to sit in his base here. 4 longhouses actually. Yes, he's got to sit in his base here. He's got those chickens coming in and everything else the army charges for to try and take out this Herso here, but straight into the watchtower it goes, as Suppe is more than happy to be in this position. He's also getting himself, that's wild, it's 75 resources. It signifies boosts his buildings line of sight by 6. And we will see when that comes through. Look at how much line of sight he's got now, and then look at how much he's going to have once that comes through. We'll take another little look-see at that one, as this Herso almost going down, managing to survive with 2 HP, but no real way to heal up these units for the time being, as Herdmen are going to be the first units coming out here for the time being. Meanwhile, more Hippias are going to be coming through, and Fox's Eric is now dropping a second stable. He's seen 4 longhouses, an armory, double armory is coming down now for Suppe. 4 longhouses, and he's still going for Hippias. Is a pretty insane thing for me to see, because like every single unit you can get out of the longhouse, with the exception of the thrown axeman, will counter. I mean, it's only 2. You've got Herdman, you've got Berserks, and now we see the Asgardian hill fort coming down as the army is over onto the other side of the map. Going to be sieging down this wall over here, and he's going to be shooting this up pretty fast. More Herdmen coming over here to build this one up. With the loss of this wall, these villagers will have to retreat away. The Hippias will be able to get in and get some damage done, but I'm sure that wall will just get rebuilt a little bit later. The gold mine might get pushed off, but no problems, as Suppe will now secure himself a nice little bit of food over here. As the dwarves will also have to start pulling back as well. Suppe going to be waiting for the last minute there before pulling away. Does do so. Still has that Herso there. Nope, he loses the Herso to the special ability of the center. And at this point, you kind of have to sit on this location, otherwise that's just going to get walled back down, as the Herdmen are going to move over. You have to be careful of that center. It does a lot of damage to this one, but popping up onto this position will force those units away. You can also see that Suppe is getting himself both copper shields and copper mail, as the Asgardian hill fort does end up finishing up on that position. That's going to unlock those Huskal to use here. Meanwhile, in the main base here for Eric, houses coming down. He's got, still just has those 2 stables, and that's about it, but the walls are up. He's got pressure all over the map, but this, I mean, this hill fort does cut this map up quite a bit here. Gives him a lot of line of sight. I wouldn't mind seeing a wall getting thrown up over here and all the other good stuff that could come in, as the Herdman looking to join up onto this fight with those Herso, as he's a little bit out of position. The villagers here getting pushed back. One villager does end up going down, as the Herdman going to be crashing in onto the backside here. The Herso going to dive through the tower, now onto those center, pushing them back, and it does look like those Hippias are going to take a lot of damage here as they're trying to retreat out. Suppe has found himself a big advantage, so he is behind on villagers in a big way for the time being, as the Herso still chasing forward. Another couple of Hippias are going to be getting taken down here. Suppe, he's still building those Herso, but he's only getting 1 out at a time from the temple, so it will be a slow grind to get those ones out. He might want to throw down a great haul just to get those production numbers up for the time being here. Nonetheless, still just going to be Hippias centaurs for Eric moving forward, as he's going to be regrouping up onto this position here. As the house comes down, the dwarves are now going to move over here, and we'll see, will Suppe just start a town center? This is such a good way to defend against anything here as Freyr, because you start the town center and that unlocks Ghoul and Bursty to defend this position. You don't have to worry if your opponent goes heroic age, hits an Aphrodite timing. It's not that big of a problem, and he does start that one. And the question is, does Eric notice it or not? The answer is he's got no idea. We didn't check how much line of sight he gets here. Honestly, I can't even tell. Obviously, he has some line of sight advantage with getting that tech, but a little bit's a little bit, and it's pretty important, especially when you start dropping buildings around the place on the map. As now the town center is up, you can grab the Rhinoceros here. He's going to have that Ghoul and Bursty to grab. I really like the progression that Suppe is taking in this game. He's just played it so slowly and methodically. And now, at this point, if Eric moves in here with the centaur, like underneath the Gullenbursty can literally just spawn on top of them, and they're all going to die. Because they get stunned by the Gullenbursty, and then the Gullenbursty can charge through and kill them. We're seeing that heroic age here. Dionysus wants to come in as Eric sees the town center is now up, but even so, it almost looks to me as if with this town center up, with everything else, we see some Hippias trying to break through onto this position. Oh my god, is he going to be able to do it? Suppe, the madman, drops the wall on the backside here, and is now completely trapped those 4 Hippias in here. Going to complete this wall over here. The Herdmen are going to be able to break through. No, where are they going? Now they're going to come through, but Suppe, he's now getting pressured onto this position as well. The villagers will be able to drive into the tower for the time being. We see the hoplites coming in, and I'm sure that's going to mean very quickly for Suppe to start making some of those big, bad throw an axeman. But it seems to me like Suppe drops the Gullenbursty a little bit too slow here. He's got that queued up onto the hoplite instead of onto the centaurs, and the army will be able to get out of there. That's not the Gullenbursty usage I was hoping for in this game, and Eric is going to be really happy about this because basically he's going to be able to just max an army, bronze, and go. There will be A-gear, there will be Tempest available. Potentially going through Bragi here wouldn't be a terrible idea, but we see the units now over onto this position. They're going to be getting taken down. Suppe, he's still defending really nicely. He's in front on villagers now. He's putting more military buildings. The Great Hall's getting started. He knows he's got to be prepared for Hypaspist. He's seen the hoplites already coming out. So, yeah, you've got to be prepared for the next next portion of this game. Does he have himself up in market? No market to buy any food to get to the next age. He's still got a couple of goats left. He can throw farms down around this town center. No problems here. Eric, on the other hand, he's got himself the double military academies, couple of stables here. The armory is up. Going to be getting himself that spirited charge tech. He's got himself only medium cavalry, so no armory upgrades just yet. So he's staring down the barrel of a Freyr of Suppe that will probably be able to get a ton of upgrades up and defend whatever he wants to throw on. In fact, it looks like A-gear is coming in first here, as Suppe is going to be pushing back. The Hersir slowly running forward here as Eric pulls all the way back home for the time being here. Another house coming up onto the front here. More Draugr starting to come in. And Eric is finally going to be getting himself that hand axe. A whole bunch of villagers on the temple for the time being. He's got pickaxe already as well as husbandry. But I guess with getting these techs, then you can go into those heroic age techs, which are a lot stronger. Though it does take a lot longer for the Freyr to upgrade them. It's definitely worth grabbing them as fast as possible. And we see this. I've seen Suppe grabbing this tech a lot. And I get it. Because it's a boost to your fortress's training and research work rate. Which means... Wait, did he cancel it? Looks like he cancelled it. Which basically means you can get Huskarl out a little bit faster, right? And building more fortresses. If you combine that tech with also getting Levy and everything else, it can be really, really good. As we do see the Tempest getting dropped down. And Eric, very smartly here, just going to be dropping his ceasefire. He does take a little bit of damage from this one. But this will leave... Is that a hill fort? It is a hill fort. It will leave bronze on the table here for Eric to use. And Eric is now pumping out Hypaspist. But a whole bunch of those Revenant Draugr are in. These things pack an absolute punch. The hill fort will be finishing up onto this front here. How many thrown axemen are there? There's 14. So it's a considerable amount as bronze getting dropped down. Is there, or are there enough units here for Eric to make a push through? You've got to also remember those Draugr are doing divine damage, so the bronze doesn't really help there. There's also the rock giant on the back as the centaur are going to be trying to maneuver around here, trying to get as much damage as they can as the Hersir pushing through onto the centaurs, onto the back. As those Draugr, they are just sniping down everything over there. And in that moment, we see Eric saying, enough is enough. What a game here from Suppe. This was clinical. Absolutely. He just literally just plays this god to perfection. Freyr, when you see someone playing Freyr like this, it just looks like, wow, there was almost no there was almost no opportunities here for Eric to like get an advantage, so to speak. The fast advance here from Eric, I think there is something to getting your temple up nice and early, and nice and forward. Maybe getting up a stable, nice and forward. So you send a villager forward, right? And you build a temple nice and forward. You put a villager on here. You build a stable here with that villager. You're not going for mass center. You're not going for mass anything. If your opponent kills a temple, what do you care? You're going to get a whole bunch of militia from it. So it's like you're not upset about losing the temple in the slightest. You can always build it back in your main base a little bit later to get some extra favor if need be. But you're going to be attacking your opponent basically right at your advance time, rather than having to trek the entirety of the map to get over here. You're already sacrificing economy to go up that fast anyways, right? Compared to what your opponent's doing. So you need to get some value with that center. And whether you kill a villager or not is irrelevant. You need to get idle villager time caused. And given the fact that Soup just takes the longest time to get to that classical age, where is this? Look at this, a 430 from Soup. It just seems so late for Norse, but in reality, 430 isn't that bad. It's only a minute behind, but a minute behind is 4 villagers. 4 villagers gathering for a minute. 4 villagers gathering at 60 resources a minute. That's 240 resources that Soup just starts with in front of his opponent. Take a look at this. At 430, it's just a huge, actually, the closer, the better judge would be right here, right? 530 into the game, and this is with economic upgrades as well, mind you, so you have to take that into account, but there's a 500 resource difference at 5 minutes and 30 into this game. And that's just because Eric couldn't get any economic damage done with his advance time. Nonetheless, if you guys enjoyed this game, and you do enjoy the Freyr, definitely check out Soup. He's got an awesome stream and YouTube channel. Don't sleep on Eric. He's an incredibly strong player as well, but definitely hit the follow button, hit that like button, and I'll see you in the next one. Game number 2 of this random rank session I'm currently watching here with Mr. Eric BR and Soup. We're seeing a run back here, ladies and gentlemen. Haven't really done this all too much. I was talking to Eric just recently about what he's doing on the ladder. He's got a real hard focus on tournaments right now. He wants to play scrims, playing all the gods in his scrims, and trying to be the best tournament player he can be. And he's been saying that, well, at the moment, all I can really play on the ladder is Poseidon. And I'm interested in what your guys' take on this is. He says that I can't play any other gods because I'm not allowed to, or I don't want to show off any strategies to anyone on the ladder because I want to use them in tournament where it's worth something. What do you guys reckon about that? What do you think? I'll save my take. I kind of said it already in Twitch chat, but I'm more interested in what you guys are thinking about it. Nonetheless, this is the game. This is a game 2. These guys are playing some ranked games, and I'm excited to watch them. It's not all too often you get to watch 2 really high-level players going at it on the rank ladder, especially kind of running it with their strongest gods to some degree. Soup, obviously, one of the best Freyr players around, and Eric is one of the best Greek players around. He obviously plays all the gods as well, but he's definitely a Greek main at heart from way back when. Nonetheless, Soup, you scoundrel, you give the goats back. Give them back, Soup. Give them back. Just do it. Oh, good. And the scout's back. Oh, there's one more goat to grab. He's after it. Oh, and he gets it. He gets it. And now he has to herd it all the way back home. Nonetheless, we've got ourselves on this position. The Black Lotus. Villagers farm faster. 10%. Over on this position, we've got the Blue Crystal Shard here. 5% extra golden wood. On this right side, we've got the Tower of Cestus. A little bit of bonus damage versus myth units. On this position up the top, we've got the skulls of Circepe. Still not trying to. This relic is so good that Soup has walled it off. There's not. His relic is so good that he walls it off. We already see the advance time coming through here for Eric. He's going with the same sort of opening as last game. Going to try and put that pressure on nice and early and see if he can find some value. Now, this game feels a little bit different here for Suppe. His gold is open. He hasn't tried to wall it off with a temple and trying to make it difficult to approach here. The wood line is also chosen right next to the gold, so pressure the gold, pressure the wood in the same time. Well, at the same time. We just see this bottom's position here going to get walled off. These villagers can make their way over onto this position, but it looks like Suppe is more concerned with his chickens than anything else. If we take a quick look at Eric's line of sight here, the gold has been spotted, and now he knows where to send that centaur to kick this game off straight away. There's the Uller is still going to be a 4:30 advance time. The Berserk coming up to drop a wall over here. The Katoskopos is in position to create some sort of a problem here. He's not fast enough, but we'll be getting a couple of whacks on to that Berserk to just make it lose a little bit of HP. But also sitting in here with that Katoskopos to cause some problems as well. Does push the Berserk back, and now slowly going to get little bits of damage on it. Every little bit of idle time here matters as he tries to push forward with the centaur. Going to be trying to dodge the arrows here. Really nice micro from Eric to try and make that happen there. But over onto this position, houses coming down, villagers popping out, and all of the other good stuff as the villagers come onto the chickens here as well. And the centaur will be retreating back. Meanwhile, Theseus and Jason slowly starting to push forward over here. Getting a little bit of damage onto this position here as Suppe does hit the classical age through Ulla, and he's going to be dropping his longhouses. The problem here for Suppe, as opposed to last game, is that he's getting no gold income for the time being. 0 gold income at the moment. As we see, the stable is up, the Pegasus are coming through. Seems like very stock standard play for Poseidon and any basically Hermes user, Zeus as well. Getting this winged messenger technology out to get this Pegasus, just to see how much line of sight you get. Just look at it. You get to just know what's happening in the base. Chasing in to kill off the Draugr here. We'll be able to snipe that one down before exiting out the other side. With the watchtowers up, this will give a little bit of security to the gold mine, but in all honesty, a real simple maneuver that Eric can do here, as we're seeing the longhouse now coming in, is charge in with the Hippias first, veer off to the other side while the tower is shooting to dodge the arrows, and then get the centaur to start volleying in. Alternatively, just come around the bottom of the forest and start hitting this, hitting over here. Lots of different angles to attack here. Eric has not scouted out that that's really a possibility. Still looking to put some pressure in onto the front here. He might be able to snipe the Berserk over here if he can get a shot off. Doesn't manage to get that secondary shot after the special ability there, as some herdmen are now starting to come in to tango here, as the Herso are going to be charging around as well. And we'll see those Hippias turning and taking a fight relatively soon, it will seem. The centaur gets just a little bit of damage done. Herdman getting taken down over here, and the units are going to be having to retreat back. So now we get some farms coming up in the main base here for Eric. Just getting houses. Still just one stable. Not really going into all too much at the moment. Does he have any economic upgrades here? He does have husbandry. He does have pickaxe. This is an interesting take here on like early Greek economy. Getting that early pickaxe, I can understand husbandry because it's going to be boosting. The earlier you get it, the more fat your goats get, and it also affects the chicken. So it's like you're getting boosted economy no matter what. But the pickaxe, nice little snipes here onto those villages as the Asgardian Bastion coming up onto this position here. But Centaur getting sniped for it is a bit of a good trade there, in all honesty, for Suppe. But the idea of getting early pickaxe here, when you've only got 6 villagers on it, it does take a while for that pickaxe to pay itself off. And if you're the fast advancer, you're the one who's setting the tempo in the game, do you really want to make that happen? Nonetheless, the hill fort is going to be up. Villagers in the center of the map right now. Going to be onto this position. There's a very nice little point here that Eric can attack with the centaur over here, but he's got to be paying attention here to that position. He's going to break down the watchtower, which will allow him to check this one out. I wouldn't mind seeing that Pegasus. Where is it? The Pegasus flying out onto this position here. I wouldn't mind seeing him just drop it onto this gold mine over here. So he's always going to know, and then he's got to head up onto this gold mine. But he just doesn't know that that's where the Asgardian Bastion is at. I really like the idea here from Suppe of Don't drop Asgardian Bastion straight away. Wait till you have enough infantry units and then drop it somewhere really important on the other side of where your opponent is, because you're always going to be getting attacked as the Freyr player, right? So if you just wait for them to attack you somewhere and then pull elsewhere, you're going to have a great time. As the Hippias do charge forward, they're going to be attempting to take out a villager, not going to be able to quite get that one, dodging the arrows a little bit. Villagers still idle here. This is a big amount of economic damage here from Eric. He is definitely getting his value with the army thus far. Aphrodite is on the way as well, as we're now starting to see crenellations. Crenellations gives buildings, including the hill fort. This is a little bit of a buff and a nerf from Legacy. On Legacy, it gave 1.5 bonus damage to cavalry. Now it gives... Is it 1.5? Now it gives 0.25 bonus damage to cavalry. But it affects the hill fort, it affects the town center. So while the damage is taken off the towers, it's put onto those other buildings, which it didn't used to give. So it's a buff and it's a nerf, and it's still decent. It's definitely worth grabbing for sure, especially if you're trying to defend onto this position. 1.25 there on that position. Ventilation does give 2 range to towers, which can be both a blessing and a curse, to be honest. But let's save that for another video. Nonetheless, Longhouse gets taken down. Town center is up, which means Ghoul and Bursty is unlocked. And he does drop the Ghoul and Bursty down, picks off one center, going after the next one as the Hersir coming through. It's always an interesting usage of the Ghoul and Bursty. Obviously, Suppe doesn't care about what value he gets. He doesn't want max value. He just wants something for it. As the Hersir moving up onto this position here, the center will be stuck up here on that wall if he wants to chase that one away. But we'll see what the next game plan is here. As Eric here, he's in the heroic age. He's going to be making a pacifist. He's got to deal with this center position here as well. But what's the idea? Do you go straight to the mythic age? Do you drop a talent center? What is he going to go for? As the centaur do manage to get back home, the Hearst are going to be sitting idly by, waiting for something to happen here. Also grabbing that center town center. This isn't Eric's town center. This isn't Suppe's town center. It's the extra town center for Megalopolis, which is always a lot of fun. It's the Herman coming through. Eric not paying attention. And we do see a curse drop there, forced. And that's going to be a lot of pigs going the wayside there to Suppe. That's 130 food per pig. 10. That's 1,300. That's 3,000 food if Suppe waits on it for it to get fully fattened up. So he doesn't have to build farms. He's already built farms, but he doesn't have to build more farms for quite some time here. Or he can just eat it straight away. Does he have husbandry? Of course he has husbandry. Yes, he does. Is the army now deciding it's time to charge forward here in an attempt to take this town center down? The units here for Suppe. He doesn't have any answers to the pacifist just yet. No great halls have been placed down. He's going to be spamming out the Herbman, throwing Axeman, and all the other good stuff over here. Town center trying to get torn down. Heavy infantry trying to come in here as well as the Herbman managing to get onto the back. They're going to snipe down those Hippias, but the Nemean Lion Roar getting that damage in the Nemean Lion on this position does manage to retreat back here as the pacifists are going to be taking out those Hers so nicely. Good control from both players in all honesty. A good trade here on both sides as the town center is now going to get repaired back up and Eric will have to retreat back. As the villagers now moving forward for Eric, what's the plan here? He's going to go for this hunt right under the nose of Suppe. There's always an option of dropping this lure at this point in the game as well. I haven't seen this done all too often, but in the heroic age, the lure is giving even more food, even more like lured food, even more chickens. It's actually a really, really decent usage of 30 favor when you're in the heroic age. If there's lots of food left on the map, you're going to get a lot dragged in, and you can delay your farm transition as well. I think he's done that. I think he did drop a second lure. I might be crazy. No, he didn't drop a second lure. Just the one. Okay, never mind. As now Aegir is coming through, and Suppe is falling further and further behind in this game. He's got to figure out some way to put pressure onto Suppe in this one. As the Herdman going to be jockeying around up onto this position. Hippias getting taken down. As the draft go down onto this spot. Houses coming down as well. And Eric is going to be moving a little bit around with his army. Still looking for some way to take a fight. He's going Hoplite Hippias at the moment. Hoplite Pacifist. at the moment. But the throw and axeman numbers will start to grow here as another Asgardian hill fort's coming in, but Suppe spots it straight away. Going to be forcing those units off here. He can take this down very, very quickly. Nemean line here, very low on HP. Needs to get that special ability off. Does manage to do so. That's going to be a lot of deaths onto that spot. Great usage. Takes out the Asgardian hill fort. That's 40 favor down the drain there. As a Hippaspist is just going to absolutely churn through these units. And Suppe here, he needs to change his unit composition and quick smart. A-gear coming in. Berserks get converted. Charging onto this position. Now, Eric is back in the lead, and these Berserks, they're not going to be that useful here. They're only medium. I don't even think that Eric needs to retreat here. He's going to, but he's got plenty of strength in these Hippaspists for the time being. Still no hill fort or fortress up for Eric here. He's staying very hard in this heroic age, trying to make the attack work for the time being here, but he's going to be retreating back. We see the army charging forward here as more and more Hippaspists are going to be coming in. That's a great haul coming up onto this position. Great haul over here as well. And Eric's going to be regrouping into the center of the map here. He's still effectively pure infantry here. The question is, can pure infantry beat Throw and Axeman? That's the question. And Throw and Axeman can kite forever, right? They've got 11 range. But you have to start kiting straight away. If you don't, then the Hippaspist can charge in and get that value. As Suppe tries to retreat back, he's got a lot of resources in the bank. He might be just trying to get Mythic Age here. But that could be at his own demise here, as Eric retreating back for the time being. He's still got those Centaur on the back, which can get the special abilities off and get huge amounts of damage done. A couple more upgrades coming through here. We just see Suppe's now starting to make some raiding cavalry, which he desperately needs. For those of you who don't know, raiding cavalry are the soft counter to Hippaspist. So Hippaspist are dealing 5.5 hack damage per second. They've got 35% hack armor versus the 9. Well, this will go up even more, right, when you get heavy, but maybe like 9.8, 10 hack damage per second when you get heavy upgrades. So then you can just push through and you actually can make that thing. It does look like Suppe has forgotten to train villagers here. He's given a bit of a chance over to Eric. As Eric is now going to be charging for that rock giant here. Are there any heroes here for Eric? He does have all 3 of his heroes out, so they should be able to get in here and take those units out for the time being here. Suppe's also snuck in. He's also snuck a gold mine down the bottom of the map there, but the town center for Suppe looks like it will be getting taken out as Suppe is trying to muster up an army here. Getting up his upgrades, trying to make those Ulfjarls. Ulfjarls are less of a soft counter, not necessarily a hard counter, but they technically do hard counter the path because they've got so much HP plus high base damage. Really, really good unit to be using in this spot, especially mixing in with Throw and Axeman. But you need a lot of great hauls to get them out, and Suppe's only got 3. This is always the most challenging part for Norse players, is to just get your buildings up. Get your buildings up in a big way. As the hill fort in the center will get taken down, but honestly, no significant damage here from Eric at the moment. And Eric is actually now out of food, it seems. He has to build farms. He's got food up the top. He's got a little bit of hunt over here, a little bit of food over here. But he definitely needs to get himself some farm transition going very, very shortly. He's got the hyena on this side. He's missing a house as well, sitting at 166 or 165 population. Question in the chat is it not worth it to upgrade the centaurs? I think in terms of damage, no. It doesn't give any extra damage. It just gives extra HP. So if your opponent doesn't have anything to kill them, in a way, you can just rely on your own skill to make it work, so to speak. It does give range, but range isn't more DPS really. It just means they start to attack a little earlier, but you can see it doesn't matter in situations like this. As the army starts charging forward here, the fight unfolding. Lots and lots of hoplites, lots of Hibaspis, but the raiding cavalry Jarls are now out. But will it matter or not? It looks like these Centaur are absolutely churning through the units here, but the population here for Suppe is still looking very, very good. And Eric at this point deciding it's time to retreat away here. There's still no Hersa on this position, and funnily enough, it probably is worth it right now to be having that Sylvan Lord tech as Suppe manages army kind of getting caught out on this position, not retreating away for whatever reason, as he loses another Centaur, finally pulling back into his base here as he's going to continue building those hoplites and trying to figure this one out. But for the time being here, Suppe is pretty much equalized. Suppe's got a ton of gold in the bank. He doesn't have the food in the bank at the moment. He's still got those pigs that he will be eating. And look, they're now... Are they up to 300? Did they get there? They're not quite 300, but Suppe's basically gotten 3,000 extra food from that curse. The more I see curse, the more I'm like, don't use this god power defensively. Unless you're killing every single unit and you've got units there to take the pigs back, don't use it defensively because your opponent's going to take them back. Use it when you know you're going to win the fight and send the pigs back home straight away because it's so much value. As the villagers up onto this position here, does Suppe know this? And it looks like he's going to get lucky here. He checks the town center. He spots some villagers over here. He sees a granary. Oh, and now he's going to be moving up to check it out. Does Eric spot it? Eric does not spot it at this moment as Guardian Hillfort is going to be coming down as the ceasefire gets dropped. And that's, I mean, there's not really anything else for him to be holding on to ceasefire in this game with. But he's got to be thinking, well, the advantage that I've got right now is 95% my village count. Got 65 to 52, which is an advantage for the Greek player. But he is playing against Freyr, where being behind on the villages, it matters. Don't get me wrong, but compared to other civs, it doesn't matter as much just because of how cheap all those upgrades actually end up being. And you're actually going to see Feast of Renown coming through. This one is an insane technology. Boost your food income up the wazoo, as a couple of villages do end up getting taken down. The second town center is back up in the center of the map. These units over here are about to get crashed down on. Eric has refused to get a second town center in this game as he does decide to turn around. The center are going to be getting that rain of arrow fire down into the center here. Though Throw and Axeman, however, are going to be getting so much damage here. Eric's got to be kicking himself for not getting out any Prodromus at this point. The Toxotes trying to micro back here, but the army, half of it was out of position, pushing back up onto this spot here, and Eric is now down to 135 pop. Suppe has found the advantage in this fight yet again, and now with that second town center advantage, Feast of Renown coming through, the economy of Suppe as well is going to start taking the lead here as Eric is struggling to find his way out of this position that he's found himself into. And I mean, Suppe's actually got 3 town centers now. So it's Feast of Renown, it's 3 town centers, so that's 3 food per second he's going to start getting. He's got this hill fort as well. That's 4 food per second he's going to be getting. And honestly, once the tech completes, it takes 100 seconds to complete. So don't get me wrong. It's a hard tech to actually get through and get value from. But honestly, you can just start placing hill forts. Like, just start putting them down wherever you want. Army going to get healed back up here as well. Feast of such an insane tech as we see Vidar now starting to come through. What is Eric going to do? Eric is still 1 town center. He's got farms up in his main base. Haphazardly placed, mind you. His building placement has let him down a little bit here. But only 13 farms, which means only 13 village, like only 13 villagers on food. 450 food per minute. It's not that much. Now he's grabbing that second town center. Super, super late here. As the Hoplites Toxotes is going to be trying to break through that wall up to the top position here. And Soup, he's back over onto this gold mine. The map is getting completely walled up, so no raids are going to be able to come through here. We do see Eric trying to sneak through onto this position. We'll see if Soup is going to notice this one. He's going to be able to finish this wall. Nope. Just sneak. Oh, you don't have to alert your opponent to it, but he will. Do you still run through after sniping that unit? It looks like he does. It looks like he does. I mean, Eric is going to be having to deal with a whole bunch of berserks that are over here. I'm not actually sure this army beats these berserks at this point, as the home base is now going to start getting crashed into. Villagers on these farms going down is not going to be ideal. The army for Eric now starting to move over onto this position, as the army for Eric is now going to get a little bit of a raid onto these units. Grabbing this town center, it's going to be absolutely brutal. Do we have some decent military buildings up for Soup at the moment? I do think you want closer to the vicinity of like 10 military buildings, 10 longhouses, 10 great halls if you can at this point in the game. But Soup is low on the income. As the town center does come up, that will give the healing of 1 HP per second on every single unit on this fight. The Goaty here are going to be able to take down the Nemean Lions as well. But there's the Vidar, there's the big fat Inferno as it comes, and we don't even get to see the boom. We get to admire the Inferno nonetheless. Look at this bad boy. Or good boy. He could be a good boy. You never know. Really well played here by Soup. I think Eric had the advantage here in this game. I think he just was maybe he thought there was more food on the map than there was. Like, the way that I see it, right, is when should I get a second town center when I'm playing one town center gameplay? Do I get it? Like, well, the basic thought process that I have, and whether this is accurate or not, is effectively, do I have enough actual food on the map to get the town center up? Oh, sorry, to get to the mythic age. If there's enough food on the map, I should stay one town center and get heroic age. If I've been playing a one town center game, hit the heroic age at a decent time, you know, playing that one town center game. There needs to be a lot of food on the map for it to happen. If not, I should find an advantage, and then I should drop my town center as any civilization. So in this situation, when Eric breaks this town center down, he should probably at that point drop his own town center. And then he can go into a farm transition, and then he can stay in the heroic age, and then he can try and find the victory getting to the mythic age afterwards. That's my thought process. I do understand the desire to stay one town center and get to the mythic age, because it's just so much value in hitting mythic age. You get access to mythic age myth units, your actual already produced myth units start getting even more value. You get that god power in. You also get all the text and everything else. So it obviously is a great idea to do it. But if you can't get there, then it doesn't matter. So keep that in the back of your mind when you're playing your own games is, all right, how much food on the map is left? Can we get away without doing a farm transition and hitting the mythic age? All right, let's go stay one town center. Otherwise, let's get the advantage and drop that second town center anyways. Hope you guys enjoyed. We'll see if they're going to play another game on the ladder. See if we can get that cast. Otherwise, hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you in the next one.